into the Danny, January 23rd, 2026. And if you hear me talking a little loud, basically I am here off of exit 368 off of I-75, just past Ocala, Florida, about 20 miles outside of Gainesville, which is where the University of Florida is, Florida Gators. I'm here next to a Petro and a Wendy's. Basically what I'm doing today is I'm filming 2 true crime locations. One is gonna be Florida State Prison at Raiford in Bradenton County. I'll get into that once we get there. I'm about an hour away. It's about a 2.5 hour drive away from where I was back in Celebration. Before we get back in the car, I wanted to film this old little abandoned fresh fruit stand. Definitely of a different time. Guys, if you hear, there's a truck stop behind me, so if you hear a lot of trucks, I apologize. You guys know that I want to get into abandoned buildings, but abandoned buildings is probably the most difficult thing to film. They're hard to find. Not only that, but to film in them, you have to get permission. So I'm working on some. I already sent out a few emails and made some calls, so trying to work on those videos, because abandoned buildings are really fun to film, especially if they're like big old insane asylums or you know, old churches or old government buildings, or you know, Fortune 500 buildings, you know, things like that can be really cool to film. But I'm filming from the outside here, and yeah, just an old fresh fruit stand. Look at those trees. I love those trees. I believe they're called Spanish moss. Beautiful. We still have an hour to go, but this is quite the imposing road. It is beautiful though. This is horse country, and if I'm not mistaken, Ocala is the horse sort of horse capital of the world. But yeah, here we are. Look at that. Look at that tree. Okay, guys. Here is where Bundy and Eileen Wuornos were executed. I really can't get any more besides the front sign. This is according to the Department of Corrections, who I spoke with. They were the ones that said just film the front sign. So that's what I'm doing. I'm still on the street. As you can see, I'm in the car actually. Here's my mirror. But yeah, this is it. This is a very imposing place. I'll talk to you a little bit more about it. Hey, future Danny here. I'm editing the video. I am now going to include some footage that was given to me from the Florida Department of Corrections. It includes a bunch of stuff. So it's not going to have any sound, but this is footage from, like I said, directly the Florida Department of Corrections. Thank you to their communications staff for providing this to me. What else? That's pretty much it. You're going to get a real raw, sort of unfiltered look at what some of the Florida Department of Corrections facilities look like. In this footage, I want to be very clear. There are some parts of it that I think are Raiford, the Florida State Prison that I showed, and there's footage from other Florida State prisons, as communicated to me by Georgia over at the Department of Communications. Okay, so check it out. Okay, so we just got out of the public access road where the state prison is located. Pretty busy street. So, okay, so that's, excuse me. Okay, so that's where Bundy was executed. That is also where he gave his final interview, where he confessed to his crimes. And what can I say, right? Even just driving by for a few minutes, I'm going to drive by again. I am not going to record this time. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get off to see if there's sort of an area where for visitors or people who want to ask questions and see what they tell me. But obviously the Florida State Prison is part of the Florida Department of Corrections. Now, I'm not sure the inmate population as of today, but I know it's around 1,400, 1,500. This is where Florida's death row is located. But yeah, you do not ever in your life want to be out here. It's depressing. It's, you're in the middle of nowhere, very, very rural, very imposing. I actually got a glimpse. It's not on video, but I did see a bunch of inmates outside, and it is what it is, right? It's a state prison, and it's sprawling. I mean, there's like sections over here, sections over there. So we're gonna go back. We're gonna drive through just so I can get some additional thoughts. And if there's somewhere I can stop and get off and go in and ask without recording or taking pictures, and ask about some of the rules, some of the more specific rules when it comes to recording from on public property, I'll do that. So, yeah, crazy history right here in Florida. Layer, yeah. So, pretty eye-opening, astonishing trip. I would say that the drive was longer than I anticipated for sure. Driving over 2 hours to get there today was quite the drive. I anticipated that it was going to be rural, sort of North Florida rural area, but it was a lot more rural than I was ready for. The funny part was that on the way up, you get off of 75, you get on a country road, and then you get to this highway or sort of highway system called the 301. And this is where it gets really barren, and it's where I got the shot of the train tracks with the train going along the side of me when I was driving. It's funny because I want to get, like I said, into abandoned buildings. I want to get into filming some of that stuff. Like I have to get permission, obviously, from whoever the landowner or the building owner is. And along the way, I must have seen, I felt like 20, 25 abandoned houses, motels, gas stations. So obviously, that was a little bit frustrating. I also passed about 42 Dollar Generals, but it was a fun little trip out there. Whenever you go places you've never been before, there's always the possibility that you are going to experience something that is going to stay with you for a really long time. Maybe take your breath away a little bit, or you're kind of shocked when you get there. For me, I've probably been two places that have really done that to me: Arlington National Cemetery and the Louvre in Paris. But when I got there, I wasn't really ready for the size and magnitude of the prison. Obviously, it's in the middle of nowhere. It's very quiet, extremely quiet. The people that are there are it's a very serious atmosphere. I pulled over and sort of got a feel for the area. Very quiet, very secure. And it's one of those places where, unfortunately, a lot of the people that are housed there, and that are prisoners there will never leave. Like I mentioned earlier in the video, that is where Florida's death row is. The inmates who are on death row will meet their end through lethal injection. It's housed people like Eileen Wuornos and Ted Bundy, and so forth. So it's a stark reminder of do not ever commit serious crimes, because it is a lonely journey up there, and it is a desolate place that I'm sure when it gets cold and lonely out there or steaming hot, you don't want to be there. That's going to do it for today's video. Little bit of an unplanned video. I didn't know what to expect. A lot of driving, but overall, I'm glad I got to experience that and explore that for education and posterity. Definitely somewhere, if your kids are ever misbehaving, you just drive them right by there and go, look, that's what happens when you break the law in a serious fashion. So it's an imposing place. That's the number one thing that I will always remember going by there. This is not, I tell people, this is not like a county jail or something like that. This is the real deal. And I also read, before I go here, I also read that this is the only place, and I might be wrong, but this is the only place that Florida, in the name, it actually says prison, the facility. So it's not correctional, or it's Florida State Prison. So, and that's it. So guys, pretty much like I've always said, on this channel, we're going to explore it all. 97% of my videos are always going to be positive stuff. Food, conventions, theme parks, traveling, things like that. But every once in a while, if I want to mix it up, we will. Again, you can go. I love history. History's filled with a lot of dark stuff. This is history to some extent. If I go and do a video in the Coliseum, thousands of people there were, we all know what happened there. So pretty much that's all. Guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for exploring with me. I know maybe this topic doesn't interest you, but I always try to keep it I like to go a lot of different, avenues, so we keep the channel fresh and fun, and everybody has a good time. So thank you, like, subscribe, and see you tomorrow.